Keep going here. I'm just getting set up. I don't see anyone here at the moment, but that's okay. Hi Tina, hi KTK, I'm just setting up, okay, so just hang out, chat amongst yourselves, okay? Alright, just keep hanging in because I still have a lot of setting up to do. Okay. Let's have a look here. right, that'll work. That'll do for now. Let's have a look here. Okie dokie, we are set up enough with the chart for now. Wow, wow, wow. Okie doke. All right, let's go over here. Give me a second. I'm still setting up everything. All right. So, what have we got here? Okay, Astrodoodle is done. Got the ephemeris. So we got 2 bookings already. One for Gregory Ross and one for Tina Miller. And we got room for 1 or 2 more. Hello, Katie. Let's go over here and check in with everybody. Hi, good evening. This is TarotLumination. How are you folks tonight? Thank you for dropping by. Sorry I'm a little late. It's had things to do, places to go, people to see, thoughts to think, you know, that kind of stuff. So, here we are again, years into the channel now, and we're still going. I'm not quite sure where to begin because we're in this Pisces season right now. I was trying to explain this to Love Tribe with what I'm sensing, what I'm feeling. It's just an observation, and what I feel. It's sort of a horrible way to describe things, but it's like it's constipated. It's like the world is very, very constipated right now. It doesn't know what to do with itself. I'm sure every one of you has had that feeling like, oh, I wish I could take care of business, but for some reason it's not happening. Everything is just backed up and blocked up and nothing's moving. And it's another way of saying a stalemate or a impasse. But the reason I like the word constipated is because there's a lot of energy that's backed up, looking to be released with authenticity, with expression, with integrity, with truth, with honesty. And yet, those core ingredients are in extremely short supply at the moment. So, when I look at the charts, I think of this massive Pisces stellium. Okay, got those 4 planets there. We've got Saturn, Sun, Mercury, and Neptune. All of it spread all across the Pisces 12th house global energy field of tragedy, sickness, betrayal, loss, deceptions, theft, crime, perversion. At the worst, darkest, most unhealthy expression, it would be evil. And that is in a very strong opposition right now, like a broad spectrum opposition with the moon in Sagittarius. We've been building up to it for a while. The constipation I'm referring to is really the stellium, but it gets lit up and it kind of gets supercharged in a situation like this where it's like, oh God. So you know, if you've ever had that situation, you're trying to go around living your life and you're aware, like at any moment, you could, in theory, have to take care of business, but there's another part of your body which it's not functioning right. Everything is blocked. And so when I look at what's happening in the United States, in the centers of power over here in Washington, D.C., there's this tremendous blockage going on between, let's say, the freedom group and the tyranny group. And they both want what they want. The freedom people want freedom, the tyrannical people want tyranny. And each one is the enemy of the other. And they reach this sort of moment of being incredibly stuck, because for either party to proceed, for either agenda to proceed, a movement has to occur. And one of the main pieces of evidence about the blockage is the American budget, because every year there's a sort of a budget thing that they do in Washington. And for decades, it's just been a sort of an automatic clickety-click, press a button, let's just renew, revise, update, upgrind the whole system of how it works here in America, which is a massive phenomenon I've started it. Tina, I started it. I've watched about a half an hour. I have a long way to go. Thank you. So, if you think of money or currency or whatever you want, however you want to call it, as a form of energy, and the tyrants over here are used to having all the money that they want, whenever they want, however they want it, because there's a whole bunch of people over here in the freedom group who are actually fake freedom people. They are part of the tyranny, okay? And those people are who enable the tyrants to keep getting all the budget and the money that they demand. And it's all demanded and extracted through taxes. And right now, the second house of money is heavily stressed, heavily stressed, with Jupiter and Taurus in the second house. And a few days ago, we had this like 2 or 3 day passage where the moon was in Scorpio, opposing all of that. So there was the global financial system, especially in America and China, are heavily stressed. And so what we're seeing in the United States is this compression of energy, like we have to sort this out, because the money represents energy, and the tyrants are used to having all this energy and control and the power, while we the people are asleep and allowing it to happen. And the problem for the tyrants is that the freedom group are starting to wake up and say, wait a minute, enough is enough. Normally, the freedom group caves at the last minute and gives the tyrants all the money that they want and need. But right now, it's stuck. And so what's happening is the tyrants with on the one side are saying, give us our money. If you don't give us our money now, then the whole of the United States is going to collapse and implode because of a budget government shutdown, and it's going to be your fault. The freedom people are the cause of the destruction of this country. And then the freedom folks go, oh, wait a minute, excuse me, from our perspective, if we give you the money that you're demanding, you're going to continue the destruction and the demise of this country that we are witnessing. It's only just now that we're waking up and calling it out. And so right now it's a budget, what they call a budget standoff. And there's all sorts of things that can happen. But let's just say the tyrants hold out. And they, let's say, their position is so powerful that they get what they want. And the freedom people effectively cave in and they compromise. And then what that does, it perpetuates the demise of our country and the explosion of money that goes into the pockets of the tyrants. And so there are just enough people over here on this side who are saying, no, it doesn't matter anymore. We don't care what anyone thinks of us anymore. We have to shut this vacuum cleaner down. Stop sucking the money out of the American people and giving it to these tyrants. So we'll see what happens. There's variations on that story across the whole world, but the way I'm feeling it the most powerfully is here in the United States, because what we do here affects the rest of the world right now. The other thing about the 11th house, we've got the Aquarius vibes. We've got Pluto in Aquarius. We've got let me just check my charts. So let me go to the charts anyway. Okay, so, excuse me. So, okay, I was just talking about this cluster over here. Okay, Saturn, Sun, Mercury, and Neptune. All effectively in a loose, grand square with the moon. For the last few days, the moon has been over here opposing all of this. So it became very obvious on the global stage that the global financial system is completely, utterly screwed. And it's like this at the moment. The whole world, okay? So, despite whatever people tell you, oh, history just repeats itself, we know what's going to happen already. We don't actually know what's going to happen already. A few things we do know, if you like astrology and the way I do things, is we do know that there's going to be massive upheaval, chaos, and revolution. Starting right now, it's been building up for the last 3 years, and we're heading into it full stream now, with Pluto in Aquarius at 1 degree. For the next 20 years, we got Pluto in Aquarius. So by definition, we have revolution, chaos, upheaval, the demand for freedom. People all over the world, we the people, the individuals who seek our sovereign identity, are screaming out now, saying we want our right to be ourselves in our own way. We are not interested in a one-world government. We're not interested in complete control and command by a bunch of bureaucrats in these big office buildings, run by people who have not been elected, run by people who could never get elected in a legitimate world or legitimate organization or a legitimate government. So instead they form their own alliances of these. To me, they're insane. I've listed their names many, many times before. But they're trying to impose a globalized, totalitarian, authoritarian surveillance state on every single person on Earth. Oh, what does that translate? To me, that's demonic. It's a form of evil. It's a form of tyranny. It's a form of globalized communism. Not my idea of fun. All you have to do is look at China to see what happens when you have institutionalized communism. China is completely imploding. It's falling apart, and they're pretending it's not. In China right now, remember, China has Pisces in the second house, so they're imploding financially. They are printing trillions and trillions of yuan to try and make it look to the Chinese people as though everything's okay. The secondary effect is that it devalues the value of the yuan. The third effect is that the devalued yuan makes Chinese exports even cheaper than they are already. So it's like a dumping of Chinese exports that's going all across the world right now. A big example is Germany, that just accepted tens of thousands of super cheap, nasty little Chinese electric cars that are going to explode. And because they're exploding all over China, but they're so cheap, and China's trying to dump them, and Germany, I don't know, I feel sorry for the Germans. They've completely lost it. Anyway, so what's happening right now is this sort of systematic, organized implosion. And there's only one way to go, because this is what has been created by a bunch of elites, okay? Because that's how they live. They live like cancer cells. They absorb life and energy from the surrounding healthy organism. And they keep going, extracting energy and life from the organism until the organism is dead. And then the cancer cells don't realize, like, when the organism is dead, oh, the cancer cells died. Oh dear. You know, for example, look at someone who has terminal cancer. and their whole body is riddled with cancer, and then they die. All right? Guess what happens? The cancer is also dead. It's gonna end up in the crematorium, or in a ditch, in a grave, or something. So, but the elites don't really care. They don't understand it because they're YOLOs. YOLOs. You only live once. All they care about is having as much power and money and control as possible in this lifetime right now. Anyway, so that's what they're doing. Mars in Aquarius is fiercely protesting around the world. The biggest example... Will I do the questions later? Oh, yeah, Yeah, KDK, I'll explain it. Give me a second. I'll explain everything, okay? Also in the chat, if anybody needs to, please remind me where we are, because you know I get very distracted and absent-minded, and I start to ramble and go off everywhere. But we're going to do a couple readings tonight. We've got Gregory Ross already lined up. Tina already lined up and paid. I've got room for one more, maybe two. We'll see how it goes. My voice is already starting to get a bit flimsy, but anyway. So, right now, at the moment, we have these two big, fat squares. Mars and Aquarius. Hard squaring with Uranus and sort of Jupiter over here. So, that's the financial system under stress. It was also under stress here at the same time with the moon in Scorpio. So a few days ago, we had this massive, ugly T-square right here. It's past now, but the mark and the wound is still very, very strong. Hi, Heather. I see you. Good evening. So Mars in Aquarius, you might want to think of that as the freedom fighter. Okay, Mars in Aquarius, it's like, I demand freedom. I am willing to fight for freedom. Venus wants freedom, and it's just all about love, man. I can't love without freedom. How can I have freedom without love? How can you have love without freedom? You know? How can you have healthy relationships without freedom? Freedom to be you. How can you operate in a world that is free, where the sovereign soul can be the sovereign self, if you have a bunch of people who are tyrannically motivated to superimpose their demonic, satanic agenda on top of the world? What can you do? Anyway, let me go back over here. I got a couple of really scary things. I can't remember all of them. I'll see if I can remember some of them. Give me a second. So, some of you have probably heard about the Texas fires. I've been watching all sorts of different things about the Texas fires. There's a lot of very suspicious stuff going on. Conspiracy theories are rampant, and for good reason. Okay, next things that a couple of things that I also noticed. Where am I? Give me a second here. Give me a second. Where was I? Oh, excuse me. I lost myself. I'm on the system here, trying to manage my show. I have to operate a lot of software simultaneously. Okay. Okie dokie. Alright, let's have a look here. Okie dokie. Give me a second. I'm just a little bit discombobulated. I'm just trying to get... Okay, alright. So, let me do that. Let me give me a second. I've got to take care of KTK. Alright, I got it, KTK. There you are. There you go, KDK. Usually Tina doesn't like to go first. Gregory doesn't like to go first. So maybe if if KDK, if you're in a rush, maybe we'll do you first. Yay! How about that? How about that? I can see you figured out how to do it. Well done. Well done. All right. A couple of things I noticed. So a couple of things I noticed is over here in Europe, there's tremendous amount of rebellion. Belgium, Spain, Italy, where is it? Germany, Ireland, and more. There's probably at least 7 or 8 or 9 countries that are now protesting against the global elites. These countries are basically saying enough is enough is enough to all this so-called Agenda 2030, all this COP 20 whatever it is, all the climate thingamajig, all the DEI, all the ESG, all these really bizarre facets of globalized tyrannical communism. Health, money, finance, surveillance. It's just freaking mind-boggling. And so the farmers are basically like, you know what, screw it. You want to shut us down? Okay, watch what happens when you shut down the farmers. And then the elites go, well, that's just something we have to deal with, because we're going to depopulate the planet anyway. The whole idea is we need to get rid of 7.5 billion people so that the elites can have a much cleaner, happier, bigger, freer, open world. And then we'll get the robots to do all the dirty work. There you go. World Economic Forum is the worst. KDK, you resonate with my heart. Thank you very, very much. So I've done all sorts of videos about that stuff around in circles, but I have to be kind of careful because I keep getting a lot of warning bleeps on my YouTube channel from YouTube and all the community guidelines things, and they're basically saying, TL, shut up. Or if you don't, then we will shut you up. That's basically what they're saying to me these days, and it's kind of off-pissing. One thing I like, there's a fellow I like is with Tucker Carlson, and he just did this big interview with Vladimir Putin over here in Moscow. It has about 209 million views now, went worldwide, and the NSA over here, that's the National Security Agency, Administration, whatever, basically another spy group like the CIA and all the FBIs and DHS and DOD, they basically were telling him, do not do an interview with Vladimir Putin. Tucker, you're not going to do that. You are an enemy of the state. You are putting America at risk. And Tucker basically already knows and admits and understands that he's under permanent 24-hour surveillance, mostly through his phone and his backup phone and his computer and his whole company, everything. And he's realized, I can't do anything about it. If I get a new phone, change my email, change my profile, all they do is switch around, switcheroo, and they track every word he says, every keystroke, pretty much every thought he thinks, every show, every interview he does, it's all tracked and monitored and surveilled by the deep state over here in good old America. And so Tucker called up his attorneys and said, listen, man, I don't know what to do. This is a big deal. Putin finally said, yes, I'll do the meeting. Let's do it. And that was a couple weeks ago. And then Tucker's attorney said, Tucker, don't do it, man. They're going to put you in freaking prison, man. You're going to end up like Julian Assange and Edward Snowden, and we'll never see you again. They're going to make you disappear. And then Tucker said, you know what? I don't care. I'm going to do it anyway. And so he did the interview anyway, and then nothing happened. The surveillance state realized that if they go total commie on Tucker, it'll be so obvious. In other words, if they basically go to Tucker, shut off the stream, shut off his show, remove and disappear Mr. Carlson, then everybody in the world is going to realize that America has turned into a complete totalitarian, tyrannical, deep state murdering monster. And the tyrants don't want people to know. The tyrants want people to think that America is still the center of global humanitarianism and kindness and welcoming to all people. So that's why we had this massive invasion. It's not even an invasion anymore. We're being attacked. Yeah, this is clear and present danger. We are being attacked, okay? It's all by design, so calm down. The elites are very, very smart, and they have already figured out that the best thing for the world is to destroy America, especially if you happen to be WHITE, and you believe in God, and you love your friends and family and your pets and your animals, and you like freedom. You like truth, honesty, and integrity. If you have those qualities, you are enemy number one. So that's why the United States over here, especially people like ME, are considered enemy number one. Now, from my position, enemy number one is the deep, STATE. Those tyrannical folks that I don't like. Okay. And I know, well, I don't know what's going to happen. But we're going to find out, because 2024 is a tumultuous year. You've probably figured that out already. It's going to be that way for the whole year. We're building up to an important date on the 5th of November. And from now until then, the tyrants are going to go absolutely ballistic to destroy the people who want freedom. And we're going to see how that happens. Get your popcorn, put your feet up, switch on your YouTube channels. Make sure you are well prepped. Try and get, your food, water, and survival equipment all set up. Make sure you got plenty of self-defense mechanisms sorted out. I don't know about you, but where I live here, I've noticed I've noticed a very subtle change in the environment here. There are a lot of people starting to walk around that are obviously not from here. Okay, right now, I reside at the moment over here in Las Vegas. It's a relatively very peaceful, benign, family-oriented, work-oriented, stable environment. But even here, I was talking to a driver the other day. Even here, we have people who are arriving who are definitely not from here. Well, so, and I said, well, where are they? I'm starting to see these people around, but where do they sleep? Well, he said, well, so a lot of them are homeless, but there's a certain place near the center of Las Vegas where a lot of these people are being dumped right now. And I'm starting to see large buildings that look like they're being sequestered to be turned into camps. So we'll see what happens. We have a voice and we will speak, yes. Clown Carlson makes sense. People look bad. Yeah, he's a whack. He's nuts. I really like Carl. Yeah, the worst thing you could do these days is to believe in God, man. That's you're going to be marked on your forehead. Okay. Oh, here's the other thing I wanted to mention. Oh my God. Love Triber sent me a clip. It just came out today. You know how Target stores in America, they've been promoting all these agendas with their products and their merchandise and their clothing, especially fashion clothings for younger people, typically. And it's sort of multicolored rainbow looks that they have. And some of the Target stores were, let's say, ravaged because a lot of people don't like what Target stores are doing. And then today, somebody took some snapshots inside a Target store at the little babies and youth and teenage and young adults section for wardrobe. And guess what we're seeing? Basically, Baphomet, satanic symbol wardrobe. Like it's the coolest fashion thing now. Okay? There you go. So we'll see what happens. Heather Mocha says, what happens when we the people win? Oh, 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 oh. Good question, Heather. Yeah. Well, I have a few ideas. I will share my opinion if you don't mind. Let's say we the people win. What will happen, what it will look like is there will be a sudden shutdown of the southern border over here. And that will cause absolute chaos for everybody trying to come in from everywhere else in the world. And it will also cause chaos inside the United States as all the people who just arrived in the last couple of years, there's whatever it is, 5, 10, 15 million people, they're now going to be pooping their pants because they are going to be, let's say, asked or forced to leave. It's not going to be 100% obviously because a lot of them have already integrated into America and they won't be able to get them out. But anyway, another thing that's going to happen when we the people win is that there's going to be huge shifts in the global financial system because there will be a tremendous pressure to go back to a much more stable form of money. Instead of free-form fiat printing of currency to infinity, which is basically a form of theft and destruction of energy to we the people, what will happen, it'll be like a reversal back to a genuine currency that's backed by commodities, for example, gold or oil or natural gas or timber or something like that. In which case, it'll be very, very, very difficult for the Federal Reserve banking system and the federal government to just abuse the global financial system the way they've been doing for the last 40 years. That will stop. Other things that'll happen is that it'll be the restoration of the Constitution. You know, I've talked about this many times. It'll be the reconstitution of the Constitution. 1776 revisited, or more specifically 1789, when the actual draft for the, where is it? Okay. Where is it? There's that there. So that's the actual Declaration of I can't really see it here. Hold on, because of the lights. I have to. All the stage lights are kind of obliterating. Okay. So this is what happens when we the people win. Over the next 20 years, we the people will reclaim this beautiful thing. Okay. It'll be 4th of July, 1776 revisited. Okay, followed by The reconstitution of the Constitution of the United States. Especially, we're going to protect the First Amendment and the Second Amendment. Okay? We're going to remove all the obstacles that have been created by the tyrants. Now, of course, you know the tyrants. Enemy number one to the tyrants is free speech. Okay? The reason we have the First Amendment is because without free speech, it's just tyranny. And in order to protect free speech, the ancestors here in America realized that we have to be willing to go to war if necessary. Otherwise, free speech and freedom will be taken from us. So the Second Amendment, which is the right to bear arms, is fundamental because the Second Amendment is there to protect the First Amendment. Get it? And that's where we are right now. We're at this crucial phase in the United States, and it's affecting the rest of the world. Nowhere else in the world has this. They have variations on a theme, and some places would wish they have this. Like, for example, Brazil does not have this. Brazil is now operated as a communist country. Recently, Argentina just revolted. And as a communist country, it's now being reconstituted. It's becoming very, very radically unstable there because Javier Milei is now the president and he's trying to restore common sense to Argentina. Venezuela is collapsed, imploded. A lot of countries here. A lot of countries here are under tyrannical control. The whole of China is one massive tyrannical slave camp. And so on and so on. We've talked about this many times. Hello, Maria. Yeah. Sometimes, okay, I'm just going to share a bit. Like when I do my homework, I scan a lot of stuff from all over the world 7 days a week. I usually do it early in the morning from places that I trust. And then I formulate my feelings and opinions for the day. And then I go on. Sometimes I see real shockers. There's a lot of stuff that I receive. Some of you send them in from sources that you just can't show them here on YouTube. And it's mostly to do with the stuff that's very, very disturbing, like the Satanist things I just described, and the imagery and the activities going on. Some of the photographs I've seen of a certain very famous dark-skinned president sitting with a very famous movie actor named George with the last name Clooney in a small boat with a little girl doing things that didn't seem very appropriate. Things like that, and I don't think it's AI pictures. There are so many people in the world waking up and they're starting to question everything. Basically, pretty much every government, every source and form of leadership across the world is now being heavily questioned and challenged by we the people. Because 7.8 billion people are waking up to the realization they're being abused and robbed. Or they're under complete surveillance and control and manipulation. The most powerful weapon on earth is the United States dollar. And it's operated by the United States Federal Reserve banking system in collusion with the federal government here, in collusion with the federal treasury. And they answer to the MIC, and that is the military industrial complex. The DOD, who works very closely with, most of the biggest corporations in the world. And since war is the biggest and most lucrative business in the world, the whole idea is to create permanent perpetual war. America has sort of perfected it, but they want to refine it even more to make it bigger and more devastating than ever before. And so, of course, there's all the scandals about nuclear war. Oh, no, 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 no. Oh, here's something that'll cheer you up, Tina, about the uranium mining. It's similar. You know, there's a lot of lithium mining that goes around it here in Africa. There's a lot of child slave labor and so on. A lot of the processing happens over here and so on. And same thing with silica and all that stuff that goes into the batteries for the electric cars and all this, you know, Agenda 2030 stuff, electric cars, climate cult stuff, whatever you want to call it. And especially in America and in Europe, those people are starting to realize this is stupid. This is utterly stupid. And even though the car manufacturers have done everything to oblige the elites and create all these stunningly beautiful electric cars, the problem is that there are so many problems with these electric vehicles that the consumer has woken up. They're waking up and they're basically saying, I don't really want to do this. I don't want it. So in other words, good old-fashioned supply and demand, in other words, free market capitalism is doing its job. So what's happening? All the projected stocks for lithium, cobalt, uranium, those in particular, and a couple of other very specialized rare earth stocks, they were going up and up and up and up. Lithium, 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 lithium. And now they're going because the stocks are crashing, because the electric vehicle battery market is imploding. Because the electric vehicle market is imploding. Duh! The elites are trying to keep it alive, but the people really don't want it. Some people want it, they love it, but it's a very, very specialized thing. If you live in a moderate, temperate climate and you only need to do a few miles each day within a very limited parameter, then fine, get yourself a little battery toy car and everything like that. That's fantastic. But for the rest of the world, it doesn't really work very well. Here's a really funny picture. Who was it? Maybe it was Love Triber who sent it to me. I think it was. She sent this picture. And in Europe, they're starting to create these electric car charging stations that look like a sort of gasoline pump in America. And then guess what? That electric car charging station behind it is operated by a diesel generator. Do you see the problem here? Duh! They're burning their freaking fossil fuels to create electricity so they can put it in the electric charger for the electric car. Duh! Duh! Yeah, so damage to the Navajo Nation. Well, I can't imagine uranium mining is good for anywhere. But they're still going to find a way to mine the uranium. I don't know what's going to happen to the world. The next 20 years is going to be really a freight show. When Uranus goes into Gemini, you add that with Pluto and Aquarius, that's going to really dramatically accelerate all the robotics, all the artificial intelligence, which will also trigger a massive upheaval in the traditions of work and the workplace. And I feel that there will be tremendous layoffs and unemployment, which will create like a systemic poverty, like an implosion in wealth. And that will go this way. But at the same time, the elites that are in charge of all this, their wealth will go this way. So as polarized as it is now, it's going to become way more extreme. Oh, I'm glad you liked that, Esther. I thought you'd enjoy that. Oh. Esther doesn't even think we have 20 more years. Well, you're right. I mean, it's crazy. There's a channel that I watch. He's very good at what they call the global disaster cycle. And so he's very good at showing all the deep research for the solar maximums, the solar minimums, all the CME solar flarings and things like that, the Milankovitch cycles, the polar shift gravity, the polar gravitational pole shifts, and so on and so on. And so, Esther, I can definitely think why you might not feel there's nothing more than 20 years left for us anyway. It's totally understandable. Right now, if you think about it, over the last 150, maybe 180 years, human people have been in this massive explosion of population because of, let's just call it suitability and adaptability of climate. Like a couple of thousand years ago, there were periods when it was much, much colder. It was much harder to grow and expand and populate. And then with all the inventions, when they discovered Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto up in our solar system, simultaneously, we had massive advances in knowledge and wisdom and awareness in human people. And that translated into the ability to have a longer life, have more prosperity. They had the Industrial Revolution. They discovered oil and gas and nuclear power, electricity, cameras, outer space, airplanes, cars, all this stuff. It generated massive amounts of growth and momentum, like an insane out-of-control weed, where these human people now cover the whole of the planet. Anywhere that is inhabitable is now inhabited. But of course that could change, because things can change very quickly on our little planet. And if things like the so-called climate changes, which it will, it's going to go hotter and it's going to go colder. It's going to go hotter and it's going to go colder. A lot of that is to do with the sun, in my opinion. And there's nothing much we can do about it. But if a bunch of people over here and a bunch of people over here decided, you know what, screw this rebellion from we the people. We're going to take control. We're going to nuke Europe. Let's say Vladimir decides, I'm going to nuke Europe. I'm going to show you what it's like to be powerful. I'm going to nuke you bastards over there. And then America says, oh, if you do that, well, then we have to nuke you. So they'll send nukes over the Arctic down to there and so on. And then you get the whole nuclear radiation thing, and then people start turning into, cancerous zombies, and we all start to die off. Rats in a cage. That's what happens. Yeah, God bless diesel oil. Oh, by the way, in case you're interested, Dodge Ram trucks. It's not diesel oil, but they're famous for having these beautiful diesel motors. Really powerful, lots of torque, lots of horsepower, great for hauling trailers and things like that. So Dodge has come out with this new, instead of a big fat V8, what they've got is what's called an inline 6-cylinder motor. I love motors. And this motor is only 3 liters instead of 6 liters, 5.5, 6 liters, okay? And this little 3-liter inline 6 motor has a twin turbo on the back end. And the motor is built to very high specifications, so it can put out enormous power, enormous torque on the same amount of gasoline or less than the big V8s. Talk about efficiency. And when you drive one of these new Dodge Ram inline 6 trucks, you're going to fill it with gasoline. And they do something very similar with diesel. And you don't have to plug it in. Please understand, Ford has completely shut down its manufacturing for the Ford electric F-150 trucks because they can't sell them. Duh. Anyway, sorry, I'm starting to ramble now. Let's get on with the show. Okay, I'm going to put this aside. We may need it. Let's have a look, see what's going on. Okay. First up, Katie. Whoa, it's going to be like a hazing, Katie. Okay. Oh, thank you, Esther. Thank you for noticing. So, I do have a lot of information. I like information. I like collecting information. And a lot of it I can't really share on my channel. So, I don't. Otherwise, they'd shut me down. It's kind of sad in a way. All right, so tonight we've got Katie K, we got Gregory Ross, and we got Tina Miller. Let the fun begin. I'm going to put this aside. We may come to that. I'm going to put the colors aside for now. Let's come to that. You know what? I'm going to get some more iced tea. And then we're going to come back and we're going to shuffle up. Okay? Yeah, no worries. Don't worry, Katie. We're going to get on with it. We're going to sort that out. I would like to ask you folks to bear with me for a moment while I top up my iced tea. And then we will get on with the show. Okay? Yes, Katie, let the games begin. Dun, 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 dun. Okay. All right. Katie, you're up. Okay. Ivona, greetings. All right, so let's put these over here. All right. Cheers, everybody. All right, so you got some notes here. Can you please see what Jordan will end up choosing in regards to our relationship? All right, well, let's see. What kind of messages? Let's keep it very, very simple, okay, Katie? The way that these things happen, I think it's just, from my perspective as a reader, I've done thousands of readings, as you know. What I like to do is set it up in such a way that it's like opening a portal. Like we open a portal to the divine, where there's you with your invisible friends, your archangels, your guardian angels, your very, very, very close by loved ones from the beyond, your future life, your past life, all of that. Benevolent and loving, there for you. But there's no interference with freedom of choice, okay? And so I like to operate so that I become effectively invisible, like I'm a neutral conduit, like I'm just an instrument. And all we do is we invite the healing power of love to work through us on this idea that there's this beautiful vortex of energy, which I call love, and we allow it to enter our being so that we own it. And then when you own it, the thing is, what do you do with that? So I ask for the healing power of love to fill my body, mind, heart, and soul from up above. And then I own it. And then I can be loving and be loved. And it's understanding the laws of physics, basically. So instead of sitting there at home waiting, I can't do anything until somebody loves me. Everybody hates me, and there's nothing I can do. So it doesn't kind of work that way. When people realize that, oh, it's up to you to be the instrument of the healing power of love, it changes everything. It's like suddenly a switch is flipped, the ignition is on, and the fuel starts to move through your body and mind and heart and soul so that you can yourself become an instrument of the healing power of love. And it changes your whole perspective on life in the world and everything. So anyway, I like to keep it simple. What messages do we have here tonight for Katie K regarding herself and Jordan and their relationship? It's good that you use the word choosing and understanding that the choice is very fundamental to evolution. The concept, the phenomenon of decision making, the concept of choice is fundamental to evolution in life. Now, I'm not going to assume anything here. Whether it's positive or negative or anything, that's subjective. That's your world, Katie. We're just looking for messages here. So I'm going to use the TarotLumination situational spread. It's a super ultra spread that I designed years and years ago. I still use it today as the initiator for everything. Let's bless this deck, bless every single card. I don't do reversals. We're not doing any jumpers, flyers, or oracles tonight. We can do all that in deep dive private things, but on our show, we just keep it light, okay? Think of this as a diagnostic tool, okay? We're going to cut it all up. What kind of messages do we have tonight for Katie regarding her situation, relationship with Jordan, and the potential decisions that Jordan will be making in regard to their relationship? Let's have a look here. Here's the situation. Make sure. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges, and here's how we're going to handle things. And let's have a look at the surrounding influences. Of course, I almost always default to the planets, but sometimes it gets personal. Let's have a look. So we've got the Page of Pentacles. So what it feels to me that what we're looking for here, the message is outside of you, Katie, outside of the relationship, outside of Jordan. The energy that heaven and the universe wants you to understand in the context of your reading is that actions speak louder than words. Material, physical, measurable actions are more important than whatever you might say and talk about with Jordan, or whatever Jordan says and talks about with you. People can say one thing and then do another. So it's very, very important by maintaining your innocence, okay, and allowing Jordan to maintain his integrity. There's no influence or pushing here, back and forth, left to right, you onto Jordan, Jordan onto you. What we're doing here is the universe is saying, in a very simple way, let's take it back to basics, okay, Katie? Please do not forget that actions speak louder than words. We're looking for physical manifestations of the words, and if there's a disparity between the words and the actions, we know we have a problem. If the words match the actions, then we're potentially in a healthy direction, whatever that is, if it's negative words or positive, whatever it means. But the important thing is to understand that we're looking for actions, evidence through actions, okay? So, let's have a look. Let's have a look. The situation itself. Number 6 of Swords. We got the 6 of Swords here. So, to me, this looks like a very... To me, on the outside, it looks very obvious that somebody is trying to get out of the situation with the least amount of harm possible. Perhaps subtly. In other words, some sort of... Some people have like fake goodbyes or fake, oh, I'll see you around, but actually it's the end of the end. Now, I'm not saying that's what's happening here, but with the 6 of Swords, to me it feels as though what really counts is things like, if you look at the Swords, okay, truth, honesty, integrity, respect, kindness, patience. Those are the core ingredients that you need in a relationship between self and other and self. And if a relationship is to continue and move on in a healthy way, these are by far the most important ingredients that you need to move forward, because you can do anything from there once you have all these on board. So this is what you need to be looking for, are those ingredients that I just mentioned. And if there is an obvious absence of those core ingredients, then you could think that either Jordan is sensing that what he needs and wants is not there for him, or what you need and want is not there for you. So it might be, to me it looks like, it's not sneaky, but it looks like there is it's like somebody, I'm not saying it's you or Jordan. It looks like somebody might be looking for a way out without causing any stir or pain or anxiety. In other words, I'm gonna be kind of blunt here, okay? Sorry, Katie K. So I don't know. I'm just describing the energy that I'm feeling from the 6 of Swords for you, is that some people have all the best of intentions when they enter the dynamics of a relationship, and then they discover and learn things about themselves and the other person through the divine gift of reflection. The mirror of relationship is one of the most valuable components of love and relationship, and that's why human people seek out relationships in order to understand and learn about themselves, okay? It's very, very self-serving. And in order to have a really healthy relationship, it's very important that you, Katie, are as fully matured and integrated and independent as possible in your own way, so that the relationship dynamic is not based on codependency or crippling neediness or anything like that, where each party is looking to the other in order to take and grow and then, because that's what some people do. They enter a relationship in order to take, so that they can move on, and then they repeat. They harvest people. They harvest energy from people. They're like energy vampires. And sometimes they don't know they're doing it. Some people enter relationships They don't even know who they are. They don't know their energy. They go in, things evolve, change, and grow, and then they reach a point where I don't want to be in this anymore. I can't do this anymore. But they don't want to come over looking as the bad person, like, screw you, dump you. I've already exploited everything I can from you. I was just using you. Goodbye. They don't want to do that. They want to maintain appearances as though, oh, I'm the most genuine, authentic, caring, trusting, loving person imaginable. So I'm just going to kind of like, fade away, hope nobody cares or notices. Okay. So all sorts of things start happening, but with the Six of Swords, there definitely looks like the energy of escape. Okay? Whether you want to get out or whether he wants to get out, or they're looking for a way out without pain and suffering. So that is very much to do, excuse me, I'm stumbling. It's very much to do with the energy of all this Pisces stuff here. Huge stellium here in Pisces, very powerful stellium in Pisces. So in the healthy aspect, it would expose you to the divine, universal love, the highest frequencies of love, where people love anyway. Even if you've fallen in love and you've married someone and it turns out like 20 years later they get this crippling disease and you love them anyway. Or vice versa. You end up 20 years later with a crippling disease and your loved one loves you anyway. Things like that. But a lot of the time this could also indicate on the unhealthy side anything to do with past life karma, treachery, betrayal, lies, deception, fraud, fakery. So you have to allow for that. What's the challenge here? Okay, so the challenge here with the moon card, it's almost like to do with trusting your gut. The challenge would be trusting your deep, deep gut. And if your deep, deep gut is telling you something, Katie, that you don't want to hear, and it's not what you're hoping for, then you would be frightened of what your gut is telling you. Okay, so I'm going to do something quick here. The reason I'm using the word gut here. There's your gut, right? Now, in terms of your biology or physiology, your gut is considered your second brain, okay? Because a lot of our physiology in life works on autopilot, okay? I don't tell my heart to beat. I don't tell my lungs to breathe. I don't tell my eyes to blink. All that happens on the autonomic nervous system. And a lot of the autonomic nervous system circulates through here to here and back from here to there. It's like a circuit, a loop. And you know when you sometimes walk into a room or something and your gut senses something really bad or wrong, but everything sort of might look okay, you trust your gut. Or at least I hope you do. Anyway, so my feeling here, Katie, is that your gut is telling you something very straightforward, something that is very understandable, unambiguous. It's just that you are almost frightened or sad to hear it because of the implications. Hello, Bubba. Bubba is here to bless the deck and bless the reading. There you go. Hi, Bubba. Hello, Bubba. Beautiful, beautiful Bubba. Hi, Bubba. Hello, Bubba. The water's over there. You can have some water, okay? I gotta have my iced tea. So, let's say, Katie, you have certain expectations of perhaps love, happiness, home, family, or whatever. And good things about you and Jordan about you. But there's something, your gut is telling you there's something out of whack. And you're scared of what your gut's telling you. All right. So let me go over here. It's understandable, given what we just described with the Six of Swords. So let's have a look. How do we move forward here? Okay. Dear Katie K. See, we're blessed by a cat. Okay, that looks like little Bonnie. And see, some of you know that little Bonnie died about 2 weeks ago. Bonnie was a very, 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 very beautiful black cat, full of love and life and energy to the very, very last moment. I stayed with her in hospice for 36 hours until she passed. And that was that. And she was like a lucky charm. Now, for you, Katie K, this is the Queen of Wands. The way forward from here is to reconstitute yourself, Katie K. Wake up, Katie K. Get back to you being you. Reclaim your sovereign self. Reclaim your sovereign identity. And stand in your girl power. Let's see if I can get her to light up again like we just did. Come on, little camera. Wish I could afford better cameras. I mean, this is okay. I mean, sometimes it's... Anyway, look. Come on, little camera. Ah. Anyway, with the Queen of Wands, it makes me feel like it's a reminder. Dear Katie K, please do not forget your awesomeness, your right to be you, and your duty to be you. So, it's like, oh, Bubba. Oh, Bubba. Oh, Bubba. So the Queen of Wands is basically saying it's time to reclaim yourself, Katie. It's time to reclaim yourself and I would say recalibrate your expectations about life in the world and everything and accept the reality of what's going on with you and Jordan. In other words, actions speak louder than words. And if actions are telling you one thing, but words are saying another, go by what the actions are telling you. Go by what your gut is telling you, even if you're frightened of what your gut is telling you, okay? Do not be frightened of what's happening, Katie. The Queen of Wands is like the ultimate expression, energy of divine inspiration, leadership, living by example. In other words, if this is hurtful or uncomfortable or tragic or painful for you in some kind of way, where things are not working out the way you might have hoped, just accept it for what it is, and then you move on. Doesn't mean you are less of a person or anything like that. Hi, Bubba. Hello, little Bubba. Bubba might not show up very well on the camera because the lights are the studio lights are very bright and his fur is very bright and it's dazzling. It's dazzling the cameras. Katie K, I hope that helps you. I'm going to wrap that up and we're going to move on with the next reading. Okay, so let's see how we're going to do this. Should we do Gregory or Tina next? That's the question. Let's have a look. Gregory. Oh, I'm looking at your notes there, Katie, on the screen. Looks like he doesn't want to be the bad guy. You want to have a blended family, but he doesn't. And I know my desires are good and stable and healthy. But yeah, Queen of Wands. Okay. All right, Katie. So I hope you got something out of that. Sometimes with this reading, all they are is like affirmations of what you already know and feel in your gut anyway. You just needed to hear it from something or someone outside of you. Not a friend, not a family, not a psychiatrist, not a relationship consultant. Okay. So what we got to do is shuffle up here. Tina, if you're, I haven't seen Gregory anywhere on the screen, so let's go with Tina, okay? Tina, you're up next, and then we'll do Gregory last. And if he still isn't around, then he can, you know the routine. You can watch it on the live stream recording later on after the show's over, and you can just fast forward to your reading. Just like everybody does watching their YouTube videos. Ava is learning muzzle training and not attacking her sister. Well, that's a good thing. I remember when I was a little tiny kid, I have a brother, and every now and again we would get in these really ridiculous, like, it was very rare, but mini fights. Very rare, because me and my brother typically get along really well, but every now and again I turned into a brat. And I can remember, I'm going to just tell you exactly what happened here. It should be on my story time part of the channel. I have that section on the channel, what's it called? Playlists for story time. This would be a good one. Of course, I can't actually provide evidence. It's just a story, but it's real. I guarantee it's real. All right, Tina, you're going to be up. I'm going to shuffle some more in a minute. I just want to share the story. I can't even remember what inspired me. Siblings. Oh, that's right, siblings. Sibling love. I can remember when I first moved into England, we had a little house, and we rented this little house, and I shared a bedroom with my brother. We had a bunk bed, and I was trying to assert my dominance, and there was a chest of drawers, and I had a yo-yo, my toy yo-yo. And I thought it was really cool, and he wanted it. My brother wanted to play with it, and I wanted to play with it. And he started to go at me. Like, go at me. I want a yo-yo. And he's a younger brother. He was a little guy, but now he's like 6'2", 6'3". But anyway, at the time he was my little brother. And it just so happened, this is going to sound really stupid, but I was stark naked because I was getting ready for bedtime. I was going to change from my clothes into my little pajamas. And, my mom had called, come on, boys, go to bed, get into your pajamas. And so my brother was getting into his pajamas, but effectively we ended up naked simultaneously at the same time. Now, of course, at that age, you're only a little tiny kid. You're not thinking in terms of creepy stuff. And so my brother came at me, tried to get the yo-yo, and I took the yo-yo and kind of went at him. And I kept whacking him, and then he grabbed the yo-yo and would pull the string and then try and whip me with the string, and it went back and forth until I started screaming. And he started screaming, and then my parents had to come into the room and break up the fight. There we go. So that's just the same as the story about Tina's dogs. Two sisters. All right. Anyway, there you go. Tina, you're up. Let's have a look. Let's see what's going on here. Thank you, Bubba, for coming into that reading there. I think we really needed that. Thank you, Bubba. All right, let's have a look. All right, Tina, what's going on here? Let's see what kind of messages we have for you tonight. Okay, let's have a look here. All right, we're nice and shuffled. Let's bless this whole channel, bless all the technology, all the softwares that I have to use, the microphones, the lights, the cables, the electricity, the computer softwares, the transmission broadcasting softwares, and the platform itself, YouTube. Even though they hate me and their algorithm is designed to keep me as a, I don't know, I don't want to say a horrible word. Anyway, thank you very much. Attitude of gratitude. Always looking for that. Always looking for the attitude of gratitude. Okay, here we go. What's the situation here? Let's have a look. Come on, Tina. What's going on? I know you've shared so much with me over the years, but when we do these readings, it's like archaeology, you know. You dust away layers of obstruction and things that are not clear, and then we have clarity. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle things. Okie dokie. Let's have a look. External influences. Queen of Swords. Here. Okay, so my feeling is that the heaven and the planets are trying to help you by asking you to be very, very strong and not put up with any kind of BS around you, because there is so much BS in the atmosphere right now. I know you're going through some very challenging times, and there's a lot at stake here. And it's very important to be absolutely ruthless and get rid of anything that is bogus or fake or irrelevant or ambiguous or treacherous. And sometimes that's difficult because there are people in this world, like lawyers, for example, and accountants and government and things like that, and they present themselves as people who are there to help you. And like Reagan said, some of the most scary words in the English language are from the government. When the government comes knocking on your door or sends you a letter in the mail and says, "Hello, Tina Miller, I'm from the government and I'm here to help you." If that's what happens, you run as fast as you can, as far away as possible, or at least put up very, very, very strong defenses. Make sure that you are getting crystal clear information and truth and reality. Right now, with the Queen of Swords here, makes me feel you're in a position that the last thing you need is lies, betrayal, treachery, bogus feedback. I know you're trying to solve a lot of problems right now, and you're going to need a lot of feedback from people who would be theoretically very important in your life, who would help you to manifest what you want to manifest. And it's a filtering process. And the thing about a filtering process is that it is a process. You have to go through it, and the whole idea is to eliminate the crap. Get rid of the crap and get to something that's true, genuine, authentic, and what really, really works for you, so that you have a sense of calm and inner, let's say, posture that allows you to move forward day by day without being overwhelmed with fear. All right, give me a second here. Sorry, my eyes were watering. Yeah. So let's have a look. What's the situation itself? Okay, so like we said, you're dealing with a lot of cataclysmic changes in your life right now. And this is the energy of well, you know, the Death card, it's more about transformation. This is about basically whatever has to go, in order that the what's another word, catchphrase? I'm trying to think of a bumper sticker. What's that word? Out of the bad comes the good. In other words, it's very important to allow whatever is going to implode to implode. Allow it to do its thing so that reality is achieved. And from that point of reality, then you can like reconstruct with new materials going forward. So with the Tower card, it's an understanding that you are perfectly aware that there are certain elements in your life that are imploding in real time, or have imploded in real time, or possibly could implode in real time. It's not the end of the world. It's not the end of the life of the world and everything. It is a chapter. And the worst thing you could do is be in denial about this. The best thing you can do about it is to seek out absolute truth and clarity, so that you are not a victim of this, because this would terrify a lot of people. But when you, what's another word to understand your enemy? Your enemy is not you. It's just living life. Life comes up with challenging moments. All of us, like for example, a Saturn return. I think you just mentioned something about, anyway, it sounds like you might be dealing with your own, one of your Saturn returns right now, which can be very painful. Saturn returns are typically very painful. There's typically one at about age 28, 29, 30, and then another one at 57, 58, 59, 60, around there. And so what tends to happen is certain elements of life start to, let's say, they're basically foobar, effed up beyond repair. F up beyond repair. Foobar. And so what do you do with that? You just say, okay, well, that's how it is, you know? So it will be like, realizing, the spark plugs on my Jeep aren't working. Well, what do? You fix it. So, because I feel that we don't have to dwell on this, okay, Tina? You're vividly aware of the symbolism here. You know exactly what we're talking about. And it's the worst thing you could do is deny any of this stuff, or try to fight it, or pretend that it doesn't exist, or whatever. Let's move on. Let's say, what's the problem with all of this? Because it could be very frightening. So, it puts you in a position where, with the Strength card, in terms of accepting reality, like obviously your ego, like the Tina Miller that you would see in the mirror, the person with whom you have a very close relationship, you're aware of your life path, your history, of all the mistakes you've made, all the good things that you've done, and you would like to have the best life possible going forward, and you've done a lot of work to put a lot of that potential in place. And yet, you're having to deal with certain frightening, unsettling scenarios right now. So that's putting you in a position where it's like being forced to rely on spirit and divinity rather than just, let's say, common sense ego and the power of just being a basic human person. And so it's a very humbling experience. It's very, very humbling to encounter these chapters in life where you realize, my God, my life is finite. I am finite. I was born, I'm going to live, and then I'm going to pass on. That's the same for everybody, okay? Some people can't handle it. Some of the elites, the global elites, they can't handle it. They're doing everything in their power with billions and billions of dollars to try to find a way to make their lives perpetual. It's ridiculous. You can't evolve without the cycles of birth, procreation, and death. So anyway, with the Strength card here, it's kind of your circumstances. You're putting in a situation where it's like reluctantly having to accept the divine nature of things and life, and how it kind of sometimes goes against what you would like things to be if you could control the world. If I ruled the world. Oh, go look at there on the screen, folks. Tina Miller just passed the second Saturn return. There you go. All right, so how are we going to proceed with all this? Because this could be scary for some people. But you've got this very powerful energy on your side. And with this thing, like, I'm probably going to have to play that song. I have a TarotLumination song. It's called I Surrender. So we'll play that after this reading, okay? It's about surrendering to the divine. So how do we move forward here? Okay, so with the 12 major arcana here, we have the upside down, the upside down man. So, why did I forget the name of this one? Why is this? Please, somebody type in the screen the real name for the 13 here. Sorry, the number 12 card. I could look it up in one of my books, but I'm hoping one of you guys can remember. The Hanged Man, okay? So, the Hanged Man, the way to move forward is like a lot of people would, it doesn't make any sense. But the way forward here is to deliberately throw oneself into a state of suspended animation. Okay? Suspended animation is where you deliberately surrender to the divine and you allow the divine to manifest in your life. For that to happen, it means having to surrender the ego and the expectations of the ego, okay? And all your formidable strength, Tina, which you do have, of course, has to be, let's say, the ego wants certain expectations and certain outcomes. But let's say, without being fateful, life has plans for you, okay? And so the way to tune into this is to take a deep breath, surrender to the divine, allow the divine to work into your life, and allow that to happen through this deliberate posture of suspended animation, where you set aside the expectations of the ego and you allow and you invite the divine to begin manifesting in your life. And then you will understand on top of that you are guided and you are protected. So that's why I had those two songs. They're both very important. One is called I Surrender, and the other one is called I Am Guided, I Am Protected. There you go. I guess one of the background themes to the story is that the human ego is what it is. But that's not your whole self. The ego is the ego. It's like a fabrication of the self that exists inside your brain. But you are much bigger than that. You have an aura, you have multiple layers of aura, you have past life history, you have future life history, and you have your present life history. And it's all happening simultaneously in the great beyond. But of course here on earth we have to deal with the physical manifestations. So for the time being, the message here is to basically take a deep breath, take a deep breath, understand it's not the end of the world even though it might feel like it. And the way forward is to deliberately, it's almost like pray to heaven, give me the strength to give dear guardian angels, archangels, Jesus, God, all of you, please give me the courage and strength to surrender my ego and allow for divine guidance to come into my life. And we'll go forward from there. There you go. Thank you, Tina. Next up, we got Mr. Ross. Let me shuffle this up. James Helen, are you offering personal readings? Yeah, I do. It's by donation. I've got one more to do here. I might be able to handle one more. Let me just give you the updates here, James, so you're aware. This channel operates on donations. YouTube has basically demonetized my channel. They they kind of don't like what I do and how I do it. They're always sending me weird stuff and everything, and it's like interference and surveillance. I don't feel I deserve it, but they do. And so the only thing I can do is readings by donation. Most people put in 5, 10, 15, 20 bucks, something like that. So over here, this is what people do. Okay, so James, let's say you're on your computer or tablet, whatever. It really helps if you're on another device. And let's see, how am I going to do this? Okay, give me a second. All right, James, so I'm going to go to the website. Okay, this is TarotLumination.com. It's a website for who I am and what I do. And you can go there on a device like a phone or a tablet or a computer. Just TarotLumination.com. Go to the donate page, click it. Go to the donate button, click it. And it comes up with a payment processor like shopping online. You can scroll down and choose a credit, debit card kind of thing. And then you swipe it, put your stuff in, and that will show up here as a donation. And then you get your mini reading. That's how it works. Very simple. We've had 2 readings already tonight. We've got one more. And if you're going to do that, okay, I'll give it a couple of seconds because I have to shuffle the deck again and get prepared for the next reading. So I'll keep an eye on things, James. Thank you for asking. So in the meantime, let's see. I've got to shuffle cards. So we're up here now with Gregory, and we're going to start a reading in a few moments. And I'm just doing the, okay, there we go. Alright, let's go over here. I'm just clicking around, sorry, it's just, you know, channel management stuff. Give me a second. I'm doing what I got to do. So I'm going to pull these up here. So we had a reading for Katie, and we had a reading for Tina. We just did that. We've got a reading for Gregory coming up. And now we've got a reading booked for James. James Helen. Okay. Hi, James. So that's it. No more readings tonight after that. No more bookings. I can only handle so much. I wish I could do a lot more. So right now, okay. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Tina. All right, next up we got Mr. Ross. Sorry about that. Hold on, I need some water. All right, cards are nicely shuffled, but I'm going to do a few more to the last second. That's okay, James. Thanks for asking. I've done thousands of readings, James. I keep it very, very simple. I only have a couple of spreads. My spreads are custom spreads. I have my situational spread, I have my relationship spread, and I have my heart journey spread. And I have slight variations and adaptations and add-ons, but that's really all I do. Each one, I had to make custom spreads because when I did a lot of studying, I realized these traditional spreads don't work for me. Especially with the type of clients I have, I needed very specialized spreads. But very universal. So I only use 3 spreads. This one is my situational spread. Think of it as a diagnostic tool. Gregory, of course, has been with us for years. He's familiar with the process. I'm just kind of explaining for James. And it's like going to AutoZone or O'Reilly's or something like that, or Auto Parts, and you tell them, oh, my engine light's flashing, please help me, help me, help me. And they rush out, they plug it into their diagnostics, and they tell you, oh, yeah, it's your mass air sensor. Damn. Oh, it's your catalytic converter. Oh, no. But at least you know. You got to reveal it to heal it. You can't fix it if you don't know what the problem is. And the thing is, with this tarot channel that we have here, TarotLumination, most people, they end up here because they're not getting what they need from a regular doctor or a clinic or a friend or a family or a partner or something. So where do they go? They end up somewhere wacky like TarotLumination. Okay. Cards are well shuffled. Bless this deck. Bless every single card. The original artist, Pamela Coleman Smith, especially. All right, Gregory, here we go. You're probably out on the slopes skiing somewhere, or having a beverage, enjoying life, or just chilling. Let's have a look. Here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle things. Some of you might have noticed that I haven't seen Gregory in the chat here this evening. Sometimes he'll book a reading, get the reading, and he'll watch it later after the shows are over. And he can have the comfort and privacy. And he trusts me to do a blind reading. Okay? On the other hand, sometimes he hangs out and just observes. Let's have a look here. So, here's the situation. Here's the challenges. Here's how we're going to handle things moving forward. Here's external influences. Often I defer to the planets, but let's have a look. So, we've got the 4 of Pentacles. All right. So, my feeling is that money is a very important issue right now. Money and things like value and values, belief systems, and things that like extrapolate from there. Things like the home, the family, the stability, the foundations of your life. Don't be scared of the visuals on this card. The 4 of Pentacles is actually very, very good for building foundations. It can be an example of it's like symbolic, where it's good. It's a really good thing for everybody to take their life and their physical world seriously. I like to think of things like good fences make good neighbors. A good foundation makes for a good home. A stable environment with protecting your money, your privacy, yourself, your loved ones, your family, with good construction and good structures in your life is very important for happiness and stability. And saving and protecting and planning your worldly financial material future for the long run. In other words, it's kind of like building a legacy, building a castle, building a home. Okay? It's really important right now to concentrate on the physical realities and to create and to deliberately focus on stabilizing whatever is unstable. Let's have a look. Perhaps rebuilding a new reality. Let's have a look here. Here's the situation. Interesting. So we've got justice here. We got the justice card. And pretty much everybody here on the channel knows you're involved in the world of justice and law. And the thing about this is that there's kind of a lot of karma associated with this, the way I feel, in that everything is exactly as it should be. Why is that so? How is it so? It's because it can't be any other way. Things turn out the way they turn out because that's what happens in life. Some people can create fake worlds, institutions, facades that last for generations. Look at the United States Federal Reserve, for example. Some people do it in their life, their love, their relationships. They create facades. And eventually they will come apart. So my feeling with the justice card here is to remember that, like equilibrium, balance, harmony in life, love, and relationships is a very, very, very delicate thing. You know? It could just take one small lie or misconception or deception to tip the scales. You know? And then it sometimes is very hard to get things back into equilibrium. And my feeling for you right now is that you are craving equilibrium, especially in such a way that like it's specifically tuned for you. Now we know you're involved in the world of justice, and I think you mentioned for me that you're even thinking of running for office. And that's kind of a big deal. I don't know if you're still thinking about it or still feeling it, but it looks like, because this is a very impartial energy, like the way that law is supposed to be executed is that it's impartial. It doesn't matter. It's not rules for thee and rules for me. The law is the law. In other words, there are people very high up in American government that I don't like. I think of them as evil criminals. I think they should be in jail, in prison. Okay? And the law is very, very, very perverted right now in America. You might have seen all these stories regarding, what's her name, Fannie Willis, and Letitia James, and Alvin Bragg, and Merrick Garland. These people who are very, very high-profile characters in the world of American law and justice. And America is waking up to the realization of how extremely perverse and unjust our justice system has become. And what is really required is a recalibration to true justice, true law, pure truth, pure equity, pure balance, where the laws are abided. The laws that already exist that are good and wholesome, especially the laws fundamentally enshrined in here, are reconstituted and applied accordingly. They're not perverted and distorted to accommodate friends and family or whatever. And so, with the Four of Pentacles here and the Justice card here, it makes me feel that if you've forgotten about the idea of getting back into the world of justice, then maybe it's something to continue to think about. Maybe you don't want to do that. Maybe you've had second thoughts or something, but it still might be a theme that is circulating where you're thinking like, my God, someone's got to do it. You know, someone's got to stand up and do this. Someone has to do this, because when this is perverted It's bad for everybody. And the thing is, like it or not, Mr. Ross, you were born as a lawman, a man of the law. What are the problems here? All right, let's have a look. Okay, so with the Six of Pentacles, my feeling is that you're getting tremendously powerful sentimental waves, like overwhelming waves of past life iterations where you've lived this and you've lived that. The Pisces energies are very, very strong right now. And as far as I recall, you have some significant Pisces vibes in your character. I have certain Pisces aspects in mind, and the way this huge, I'm just correlating here, okay, Gregory, between yourself and myself, because this element here, the Pisces element in certain people, like for myself, I am being heavily, let's say, focused into the world of the divine. I'm having lots and lots of very powerful, vivid, rich dreams that connect me with the past lives, present lives, and future lives. And they are pretty much as vivid and real as my three-dimensional life. And so what I'm sensing with you here is that there's this part of you that has already lived this. You've had life and love and relationships in past lives that you wish you could rekindle in this lifetime right now. And you're scared that it's not going to happen because this is so overwhelming for you. Like, wouldn't it be nice, for example, to just retire completely and just have some kind of gooey, sweet, lovely relationship with someone you can trust? Trust absolutely. They love you, you love them, and it has already been affirmed in a past life. So you don't have to do huge amounts of heavy lifting in this lifetime to get to the point of functional reality in a healthy, loving relationship. However, in this position, in this reading, in this deck, that's not happening. So that might make you feel a bit sad and lonely. So how are we going to deal with this moving forward? So, also another, okay, so I've got the Nine of Cups here. Some people call it the wish card. You have to kind of believe it. You have to believe it to see it. Have you heard that expression? Some people say, I need to see it to believe it. You know, and all this tarot reading stuff, all this astrology stuff, it's a load of bunkum. I need to see the evidence and the proof to believe it. Whereas on this channel, of course, we talk about the divine, and it's in the form of stories and tarot readings, and then we see the correlations with the physical manifestations in life. Okay, so with the Nine of Cups here for you, Gregory, the way forward is it makes me feel like it's to keep things extremely, extremely simple. In other words, if you would like to have at least a fragment or a representation or the chance to enjoy a little bit of good old-fashioned love and romance, or just sweet love in your life, in a home life where you feel safe and comfortable at home, and you can share that one. I know you have a beautiful little furry friend you share with that friend. Maybe you have aspirations above and beyond that. Some people might want a home, you know. They might want to build a home, start a new home, or whatever. Start from scratch. But there's no implosions here. It's just about dealing with reality. It makes me feel as though there's this calling going on for you, inside of you, with you right now, and that supersedes everything. It's a bit annoying, a bit frustrating, because there are other parts of you which might want something else. But in order to go forward, my feeling is I don't want to force anything here, but it makes me feel is that it's learning how to come to terms between these two energies here, where the energy of destiny, where the energy of perhaps going forward in that way that you talked to me about a while ago, with perhaps seeking higher office, where you are very prominent in an official legal position, and finding a way for that to translate an equal happiness. Because it might not feel that way at the moment. To me, it makes me feel, because we've already done readings about this, it makes me feel that there's this calling. And if you could just like make it happen and nail it, it would make you feel really, really happy. Because then you could get into this vibe where you're already like pre-programmed for this. But if you're scared that, oh, if this is my destiny, does this mean it's going to preclude and exclude any kind of happiness or stability? I don't know. That's fear. So it looks to me the reading is basically saying, Dear Gregory, have no fear. Continue to manifest and seek stability. Allow destiny to unfold. And if you feel that there is a higher calling to higher office, allow that to manifest, even though it might make you feel as though it's taking you away from the sweet kind of cozy, perhaps feet on the desk type of life you'd like to continue from here. And find a way to merge these into one so that you are happy with your destiny and your destiny makes you happy. I hope that makes sense. It's coming to terms with who you are and where you are guided and who you are becoming. All right, I'm going to leave it at that. We're going to jump straight into James's reading. Here we go. Gregory, I didn't see you here this evening, so you're going to obviously see this later on. When the show's over, or you're going to rewind it and fast forward. All right, so let's go over. Give me a second. Give me a second here. James, okay. All right, James, I see your notes. Patty, Cancerian, and you, Gemini, had a nice phone conversation and made plans to get together this week. Where does our relationship together go from here? Interesting. Let's see what happens. What I'd like to do, James, if that's okay, I'd like to reformulate the question. You could basically distills down to where does our relationship go from here? That's one way to put it. But it has tinges of asking me to be a fortune teller. Now, I don't do that, but what we can do is perhaps rephrase it like, what kind of messages do we have here tonight regarding Patty and James in their relationship going forward? See, it's slightly different. We're not layering any kind of expectations. Basically, it's putting myself in a neutral position and allowing the healing power of love to operate as an energy field that moves into the channel, into the show, into the cards, into the reading. And I'm simply an instrument. And all that happens is I get very strong visuals and auditory impressions. I try to translate into language that you can understand. It's really, in a way, it's very, very, very simple. Oh, I need to tell you a story about remote viewing. I know Love Triber would love to hear about this one. I'm just going to make a note here after we finish with the readings. All right, so we got that. If we got time, let's see. All right, so James, we're good. Cards are nicely shuffled. We're going to use the situational spread. It's not a relationship spread. If, let's say you had a really significant relationship, there's a lot of depth and, let's say, it's a significant relationship and there's time and energy established. I can do much more substantial readings, but not on this show. I have to do it we do it privately. The private shows are very much like what we do here. I work on the stage and we work with cards, but we take a lot more time and we use much more powerful spreads. All right, let's say here we go. Actually, give me a second. I want to add a couple of layers here. Oh, another story I want to relay tonight before we all leave. Okay, so these are a couple of things. After James's reading, I'm going to talk about a couple of things here. All right, here we go. Let's have a look. All right. So what kind of messages do we have here tonight for things in development with Patty and James? Here's the situation. Here's challenges. Here's how we're going to handle things moving forward. Let's have a look at external influences. You know, sometimes people think relationships are fated. Sometimes they feel that way. And maybe there's a very strong Saturn element or something. Who knows? Let's have a look. So we've got the World card here. What this is, what my feeling in here for you with the World card. Remember, this is a very powerful card. It's the very last card in the deck. It's the end of the end of the end. And it's kind of beautiful. Because like I gave up traditional tarot long ago. But in traditional tarot, this is like the end of the major arcana, and then it all starts all over again with the Fool card. So this is the conclusion. One way to look at this, James, is that if you think of this as astrological energy that's pouring down on you, the world, but specifically for you at this moment, the way it's going through the lenses of the planets and the houses and the signs is that we're at a point of life-changing stuff going on for you. But it would probably be at a very deep, profound, almost undetectable level, almost like at the movement of like tectonic plates, you know? Like, you know about the tectonic plates. Hold on, give me a second here. Okay, so for example, James, you know that there are tectonic plates. That here's the big famous one goes all the way down California, Central America, South America, and so on. There's another big one over in the middle of the Atlantic and the South Atlantic. There's another huge one over here between India and China, and so on. And it's basically like a cracked eggshell, and the bits and pieces of the tectonic plates are shifting and moving around and over and under each other. Let's say that this is the tectonic plates between, you know, California and the Pacific plate. So they kind of go like this. No, let's do the Himalayas. That's the newest, most powerful one. The Himalaya plate goes like this. Mount Everest. Get it? In California, it's different. It kind of goes like this. So anyway, they move around, and it's very slow and undetectable until sometimes you get an earthquake. But with the World card, this stuff, it makes me feel for you, it's very big, very simple. And it's the end of life as you know it. It's the end of the world as we know it. Okay? But life continues. So in the context of this relationship, it might be a life-changing relationship. It might be happening in very subtle, deep, profound, simple ways, gentle, but life-changing anyway, where you've come to a point, a chapter in life where life as you know it is profoundly changed and changing forever and going forward into a completely new kind of existence, okay? Nothing to be scared of, something to be, I would be excited. All right, so let's just, I gotta try and keep it kind of neutral. I don't want to overemphasize the nature of the relationship. But it makes me feel is that in terms of the astrology, we're dealing with very deep, profound issues, and at the deepest level, we're talking about Pluto. Transformation is the end. So we're at the cusp here. We just ended an 18-year journey of Pluto in Capricorn. We're just beginning the 20-year journey of Pluto in Aquarius. And that's going to affect everybody on Earth. And for you, James and Patty, in this situation. But this is about you, James, not... Well, I guess it is about you and Patty, but it's really about you. So it's like allowing your life to change as change occurs around you, because change is going to happen anyway. And we're talking about every aspect: earth, air, fire, water, every element of your life. So this might be a very significant relationship for you. Let's have a look at the situation itself. Okay, another major powerful arcana card here. So there might feel like it's a very fated relationship. In other words, you meet Patty, Patty meets you, and you plan to meet together, and that seems very benign and gentle and sweet. On the other hand, with this reading, the way it's looking here, it's actually kind of profound. So with the star card, it's very much about the energy of hope. It's also the energy about like humanity. And you know that expression, carrying water? It's like being kind simply for the sake of kindness when they don't really have to. Like, for example, James, right now you probably know about the huge fires in Texas, in America. Okay? Right over here. The big fires over here, and they've already moved into Oklahoma. There's a lot of controversy about the fires because there's a lot of people who are starting to say these were suspicious and intentional, because there's a lot of very bizarre events that have happened as a consequence of the fire. One of the sweet things about it is that there's a tremendous humanitarian outpouring, gestures of kindness, not just regionally, but from all over America. There are farmers and haymakers sending hay on huge trucks from thousands of miles away to try and help and save the cows that have not been killed. Okay? And they don't have to do it. They're just taking, some of these farmers are just taking some very, very valuable, very expensive hay, and they're just giving it to the poor farmers who need it. And people do it out of kindness, out of love, for the sake of humanity. And it restores hope. So, I don't want to label the relationship in any particular way, except that it makes me feel it's fated. Now, it might indicate that you are here to restore hope in Patty, or Patty might be manifesting in your life in order to restore hope in your life. But since it's a relationship thing, my feeling is that it's kind of mutual. Like if there's something good and benevolent that you sense is going on between yourself and Patty, but it doesn't have a lot of definition yet, but it has a sort of a feeling like, wow, there could be something good here for me. And then, deep inside, we can't say it here, but maybe Patty is thinking, there might be something really good happening here for me. So it's like I'm pretend I'm an actor, okay, James? I'm acting here, okay? I'm acting. It's just like, there's Patty over there, and there's James over there, and you've sort of connected, and you're supposed to be meeting up. And inside of you, you're thinking like, oh, there's a potential. This could be good. This could be good. This could be really good for me. And that's you, James. And then there's Patty thinking like, oh, this is interesting. This fellow James, this James, this could be good for me. There's hope. There's hope for humanity. Like, this actually might be good. Because we're so used to so much bad stuff going on. So much failure, so many losses, catastrophe, delusions, exploitation, shame, abuse, all sorts of horrible things that happen in love and relationships that a lot of people don't trust in the world of love and relationships. Look what's happening in China. It's imploding. So the hope card to me indicates like there's this sense of very, very delicate, very, very nascent energy of hope that is shared mutually between you, even though it's not even discussed at the moment. It's not even something you would talk about. Okay? All right, so let's have a look. Let's keep going. I just saw some notes. You know, let me read what the notes here. It says, I feel so much love between us. We've known each other since we were 15. We're both 33. She was my first kiss, and I just always knew she was special. We had many relationships in between, but I'd always come back to her, and we recently connected again, and I don't feel any fear or doubt anymore. I really feel so secure in the relationship going forward, and I believe we're going to create magic together. All right, so I'm going to share something with you, James. It really does not happen very often, I have to say. That, I mean, maybe statistically, I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but it's, I've done thousands of relationships and relationship readings, and it's pretty rare for people of the same age, that close, to be together, okay? So, it looks like you're only a few months apart in age, okay? Less or more, it doesn't really matter much on either side. But anyway, so there are very few live, real-life relationship readings and relationships that I know that I've had exposure to that I can use as a reference point. But I have one which is very powerful. And it is my brother. My brother and his wife. They are extremely close in age. Okay? You're born June 12th. She was July. What's that? July? I can't quite read it. Oh, you can see they're very close. So, in a relationship like this, it's a very specific type of relationship, okay, James? Because, let's go to the charts. Here's a way to look at it. In a relationship, the kind of that you're describing, now this looks like a scary chart, but just let's say this is just a chart. Forget that this is red and scary and green and sweet and everything. Just think of it as a chart. Now let's say, like you said, she's born June 12th. You're born June 12th. She's July 21st. So in terms of the astrology that you share between you, it's almost identical. There's probably, like, the only differences in your charts would be the ascendant, probably the moon, and probably Mercury, maybe Venus a little bit. But otherwise, they'd be very, very similar. And so it would be an indication that, like with my brother, for example, I was very lucky. Yesterday, Saturday, I was invited to breakfast with my brother. I'm living over here in Las Vegas. He's kind of a jet setter. He goes all over the world. He's involved with very, like, famous VIP people and stuff like that. And he can do that stuff. But he and his wife are very, very close. Astrologically, they have a lot of stuff that's basically parallel. And over the years, I've noticed that they operate kind of like this. You know, before they met each other, they had independent lives. They didn't know each other. She was doing this. He was doing this. Okay. And they converged. They met. And if you think of it, like, their astrological nature is so tight. They operate like this. They operate as though they're like one unit, like a singular entity. And of course, they're very different. They're completely different people. But there's a tremendous amount of shared astrological energy. It's pretty rare, and it happens to be harmonious for them. So they see a lot of themselves in each other, and they effectively act as a very strong form of checks and balances on each other's lives, because they can instantly spot what is unacceptable in the other and vice versa, and they call each other out all the time. But there's nothing vicious. There's no abuse there, because they understand that it's a very mutually beneficial situation that they have, and it's quite unique and pretty rare. So it might be something similar to what you have. So, but again, it's kind of rare. It really is kind of rare. Let me go back. So, it might, like you described, that you've known each other for a long time, and now you've reached this point where maybe you've got enough mileage and experience outside of yourselves and each other, where you can come back and see each other as like valid, worthy mates for each other. Maybe you're sensing that in her, maybe she's sensing that in you, and it's mutually receptive, okay? Where you can symbolize hope for her and she can symbolize hope for you. Like, and that would be cool. Like, my God, there are so many people who don't have this or have anything good in their love and relationships. Well, a lot of relationships are based on exploitation or convenience or relationship of abuse, whatever it is, and it's not healthy. Okay, hold on. You're putting a lot of notes here. Hold on. You're born on the waning gibbous. She's on the waxing crescent. Okay, I'm an Aquarius moon, and rising. That's a very corny one. And she is Cancer, Sun and Moon, Virgo rising. My Venus in Taurus, hers in Cancer. I'm Mars in Aries, she's in Taurus. Her Mercury is Leo and mine Gemini. You must have a lot of things very tight together. We share Capricorn and Saturn, Neptune and Uranus and Pluto. Oh, you've done obviously a lot of work in yourselves. James, if we ever work together down the road, in a really formal private relationship, I could create something. It's a lot of homework, so I have to do a lot of homework before a private reading of that kind. But I can pull up certain types of chart and readings that will kind of give you a very in-depth view of what's going on. Let's keep going here. What's the situation? What are the challenges here? Okay, so with the Knight of Swords, it makes me feel that one of the challenges might be fear of saying things that might hurt the other, or fear of, in other words, there might be a certain fragility in the relationship that you're aware of and that she's aware of, where both parties would be scared of thinking or saying things that could jeopardize whatever potential goodness that you might be sensing with Patty, or whatever potential goodness Patty might be sensing with you. In other words, there's a very, very, very delicate balance here where, let's say this is potentially great for you and you're going to leave one world behind. Patty would have to leave her world behind, and you would be creating something brand new that you share between yourselves and each other. And because you share so much, there's so many similarities, we could do that in depth with the charts. I'd have to do a lot of work on the astrology in the background, but that's why the private readings are a lot more expensive. But anyway, that's another story. My feeling is the challenge is that you're sensing something benevolent, something that's good for you, and you're sensing there's a possibility that Patty might be feeling the same thing about you and the relationship. So James, you got to remember, especially the way I do tarot and astrology, in love and relationships there's you, there's the other. In other words, there's James, there's Patty, and then there's this third entity called the relationship. Okay? It's not you. It's not Patty. It's the relationship. And it has its own identity. It has its own very specific astrological identity. And you own it. Okay? So when people understand and operate at those very high frequencies of love and relationship, they understand it's not all about James. It's not all about Patty. It's not, you don't conduct the relationship this way. You conduct everything through the relationship itself, okay? And you understand that one of the most valuable things about the relationship is that you have this and that you have the mirror of each other. Some of the most powerful growth and healing and evolution happens in relationships. In fact, can only happen in relationship. So anyway, let's see. So in other words, to me, this makes me feel like, God, I don't want to fuck this up. I really don't want to fuck this up. Sorry about my language. Sorry about that. Okay. Let's have a look. Going forward, how do you deal with this? Oh, James, look at that. It definitely makes me feel this is destiny unfolding. This makes me feel as though you're leaning heavily on the past and the awareness that love existed right from the cradle. Okay? Almost before you were born, this would indicate a past life where you've already loved each other beforehand. And you've come together in this lifetime to manifest things at a more mature level. And it could be very, very sweet. It is possible these kind of things do actually exist. It's not a fairy tale, okay? It's not a fairy tale. This kind of love does actually exist. The thing is, statistically, it's quite rare. So if this is truly what you have, James, then it is life-changing. It would create this, in other words, think beyond yourself. Think beyond Patty. If you actually do own something like this, the way I've described it, the way I'm sensing it, it's like the relationship, this thing that you create together, that you own together, becomes this. It's like becomes a beacon where, let's say, for example, you got married, you had babies and whatever, home and whatever thing, and this kind of auric energy is radiated from you in the relationship. And people say, my God, that couple, James and Patty, they've got something like, they're like an inspiration for others. I wish I could have a relationship like you have, James. Or the girls would say, oh, Patty, I wish I had a relationship like you. Really, I'm so... And then you live by example, and you have to realize how valuable this is and how rare this is, and how you have to cherish this. Because in a really, really good relationship, the people who own this, they invest in this, they cherish this, and they conduct everything through this, okay? Okay? Oh, James, I don't mean to make you cry. I'm sorry. You're tearing up because this is what I felt for so long. This is a divine connection. This is who I see being the mother of my children. I and her, I really making a difference in this world together. Kaboom. There's your reading. You just said it. You just needed affirmation, that's all. There you go, James. So take your time, digest. You know where to go. It's TarotLumination.com. If you want to go heavy duty, take your time. We have to book it and schedule it, and I need quite a lot of advance notice. So, because there's a lot of homework that I would have to do in advance, okay? All right. So, that's our readings. Thanks, everybody. I just want to close up with a couple of notes here. Remote viewing. Okay, yeah. So there's this channel that Love Triber likes to watch. And they did a competition. It's a competition about remote viewing. And Love Triber knows that I can do remote viewing. And I really have only ever done it like when I'm called upon by the divine. Okay, divine intervention. I don't do it as a party trick or stunts or anything like that. I'm not part of the military. But anyway, it's a faculty that I have. And a lot of times, kind of like the movie Hereafter with Matt Damon, it's a bit of an annoyance in some ways. But anyway, there was a competition a few weeks ago about remote viewing. And the competition was held by Dick Allgaier, and he said, okay, everybody, we're going to find out who's going to win this remote viewing contest. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to put a thing in a place, and the winner will show me what that thing is and where it is. That's it. Go. That's the competition. And Love Triber said, we have to do this. You almost got it last time. And I went, oh no, I don't want to do this again. But anyway, I said, okay, I'll do it. And so I started sensing things. Okay, I'm sensing big walls. I'm sensing vertical columns. I'm sensing some big trees. I'm sensing a couple of people. One is big. And then, what's going on? And then I was sensing this kind of weird circular thing. And it was hidden. This circular thing was hidden inside. Perhaps inside the building or the tree or something. But anyway, I was trying to make sense of all the visual impressions that I was getting. Anyway, so I made sketches and pictures and entered into the competition. The competition was $500 with cryptocurrency. Anyway, so I didn't win, but it was very interesting to see that pretty much every element that I put in the drawing was part of the description of the winning situation. In other words, the way the competition was presented, like, here is a thing in a place. And I kept thinking, this doesn't make any sense because I'm being overwhelmed by multiple layers of images. And so when the competition was called, and Dick was saying, okay, here's what we did and here's how we do it. Here's the thing and here's the place. He did it like it was a little movie. He said, okay, first off, we went up to the library. So there's these big walls and these big pillars and then there's big trees. Okay. And then there's people around the outside. And so I went, okay, so I got all that. And then there's this feeling of going inside. I didn't get much of that. And then towards the end, he said, okay, you're going to see smaller plants, smaller little trees, and inside you could see these boxes and things. And the box was like a hut. I saw a small hut, but in fact it was a small box, which looked like filing cabinets, which were next to some shelves, which happened to be inside a library, because the building was actually a library. And so what I was seeing was like the movie. I wasn't seeing the thing, I was seeing the movie. And at the end of the movie, I kept seeing this round, weird kind of round circular thing with these lines, okay? These kind of lines. I thought, what the hell is that? It looks like it's sitting hidden inside a little box or a little box or some sort of rectangular box. And I said, this rectangular, this round thing is the most important thing about the whole remote viewing. It's sort of roundish and it has these swirly lines. It has a sort of shimmering, soft orange, gold, peachy, silver color to it. The only way I could describe it is that it looks like a very gentle, beautiful version of one of those chocolate orange cube things where you buy a square box and it has chocolates inside, and each chocolate is wrapped in orange foil and you can peel it out. It looks like a little sliver of orange when you cut an orange into slices like that. And so I entered that in the competition. And I wrote very specific notes about the circle thing that has these lines going through it that I couldn't understand. And it has this shimmery gold thing. Okay, all right, so we get to the end of the cinematic presentation of the remote viewing competition. And right at the end, Dick shows that he takes a piece of paper. He took a piece of paper, and on the piece of paper, let me do it like this. Sorry, James, I'm going to mess up your reading here. Let's put all this stuff aside. We'll clear it up later. Here's what I sensed. Forget all the big house, the building, the trees. I saw all of that, and I wrote it in and described it in. And I saw a sort of a box-like element with something very special inside it. On the original sketch, I did like a little box, like a rectangle box. I thought it was a little tiny hut. And it had a little thing up here, okay? But anyway, so what I saw was this sort of circular-ish thing with these swirl lines, okay, like that. That's what I saw. And it looked sort of orangish, shimmery, peachy, gold, silver, very shimmery. And I could only describe it as having, you know, this kind of shimmery kind of look to it. Didn't make any sense to me. This was the thing inside the place, okay? So, they announced the winner. And it turns out that at the very end of the cinematic presentation, what Dick had done is he had taken a piece of paper, a rectangle piece of paper, on which was drawn the shape of a shell, like this, with the Fibonacci sequence going inside of it. Okay, this is what I saw. This is what he drew. And he took this piece of paper and he put it inside a book, which looked like a rectangle. And in this book, it was a specific book inside the library. Remember, the library was the big thing that I saw to begin with. Lots and lots of pillars and posts and steps and trees and people. Okay, so I did all this elaborate sketch and everything. Tina, you spoiled my story! Oh, God. Thanks, Tina. Great. Anyway, so at the very end of the movie, Dick says, okay, what I actually did was I placed this thing, which was a piece of paper just like this, with a drawing of the Fibonacci sequence. And he put it inside a library book in the library, where the book was titled The Beautiful Fibonacci Pattern. Okay? And then on the front page of the book, were lots of little shells which had the Fibonacci sequence built into it. Like that. Okay? And each shell, when you looked at them all together, they all had that sort of peachy seashell, gold, shimmer, silver look to it. So I saw this. So this basically amounted to the seashells here. And these lines amounted to the Fibonacci. The thing is, I wasn't clearly defined. Now, when I did the submission to the drawing, I did a very full spectrum, elaborate drawing with lots of elements and words all over it. And my picture, my whole thing was not included because it was coming from so many different angles. I saw so many different things from so many angles. Some of the other entrants, the person who actually won was a woman who made all sorts of really messy doodles, but what she did was the reason she won the image is because she drew something like this. She drew that. That's what she drew. Almost identical what I just drew. So that's the person who won. And the person who, that's the thing. And the person who got second prize for the place was the person who saw the cover of the book and a piece of paper. He couldn't get the paper, but he saw the cover of the book and he did an image like this. So that was the winner, and this was the runner-up. This was pictures of seashells. This was supposedly a picture of the Fibonacci sequence. I don't buy it. But anyway, Love Triber was telling me, damn it, you could have won, or you would have won in a different universe if you had been more specific about this. The key thing was the Fibonacci sequence. Okay? It's okay, Tina. Don't worry about it. So that's one story I wanted to tell you about remote viewing. So it does exist. I saw pretty much, like the way Dick presented it, it was like on a YouTube video. So you had multiple scenes, one after the other. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And each part was a progression, getting closer and closer and closer to the thing in the place. Okay? So on the outside, this is outside the library and moving in. Anyway, so in my remote viewing, I saw bits of each one of these things. But at the end, I realized the most important thing is this, which I sensed as this. And I knew it was buried and hidden in something in the storyline here. And I couldn't figure out, so I decided, okay, well, I'm just going to bury it into the tree, a little plant. Didn't make any sense to me, but that's what I did to try and force some logic on my interpretation. So there you go. That's my little story about remote viewing. You have to trust the thing about remote viewing is you have to be extremely like hyper relaxed so you can actually get these. It's like having psychic visual visions. Okay, so there you go. That's one story. I have one final story to share tonight. And it's about tarot. Okay, this is a tarot channel. It's called TarotLumination. And as you know, on November 2018, my channel was utterly condemned and destroyed by the YouTube and the YouTube Google algorithm because some people complained and accused me of running a sex cult and locking women into my basement and using them as sex slaves and stealing their credit cards and living a very, very luxurious life as a pervert. Okay. That's not me. That's not who I am. That's what I do. But Google believed it. And so they basically crushed my algorithm and they stopped the monetization. And that was pretty much the end of my channel. And since then, I've mostly I survive on donations. That's all I can do. There's no point in doing super chat anymore. But anyway, enough about my misery. There's this guy called Leo King or something like that. He's a famous tarot reader on YouTube. And Love Triber was watching him, and the guy said, "Hey, everybody, you gotta keep an eye out. There's a movie coming out, a big movie coming out on Netflix or something. It's called Tarot. That's it, Tarot." And I thought, oh my God, it's probably going to be like a demonization of tarot type documentary. But no, I watched the trailer, and I'm sorry, to me it looks like a piece of doo-doo. It looks like some kind of film school type of story from, you know how like people try to make cheap horror movies? You know, like on a cheap horror movie, you basically have a cast of about 5 or 7 or 8 people. You do everything inside a very dark house. And everybody, there's usually a sofa somewhere, there's a knife, and there's a bucket of blood. And then scary stuff happens. Whoa, 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 whoa. And they make it for $100,000, you know. But anyway, so I watched the trailer. And the trailer showed like a very dark room with candles and these young kids sitting around a table, sort of like when people get spooky with Ouija boards and things like that. And the person was there like pulling out the World card, the Devil card, the Death card. And I thought, oh God, please, I'm not going to waste my time. I don't want to vomit onto my computer screen or onto the TV monitor. Have fun, everybody. I can't remember where I saw the trailer. You could probably just Google it. You could probably just Google, in a search bar somewhere, where is the trailer for the movie Tarot? They'd probably send you a link onto YouTube. All right. So everybody, thank you very much for your kindness, your generosity, your patience to listen to my wacky stories and letting me share my opinions. We're going to wrap it up. Have a super week. If I can connect with you during the week, I will. If you need to connect with me during the week, please do so. You can go to TarotLumination.com. Go to the Connect page. That's it. Send me an email. And we can go from there. Okay? If you need a private reading, you can book it all online. TarotLumination.com. Okay? So good night, everybody. It's been a pleasure. I have a lot of stuff to do. So, you know what? I'm just gonna get out of here really quick, okay? I know sometimes I like to go on for hours, but tonight I just want to kind of move on with life, you know.